So good morning, Standard 6. Once again I am before you, and today I am going to start chapter 4 of your history, which is about the Chinese civilization. In this chapter I would mention you about the origin, location, rivers of Chinese civilization. I will explain you about the society, its occupation, the occupation of the people living during this civilization, and the art and architecture, the religious beliefs of the people, and finally I will discuss about the reasons which were responsible behind the decline of this civilization. So students, since first chapter we are going through the world's earliest civilization, whether that is your Indus Valley civilization, Mesopotamian civilization, or your Egyptian civilization. Now the fourth chapter is about the Chinese civilization. It is also one of the world's earliest civilization, ancient civilization. Like the other civilizations, it also flourished near the bank of the river. The two major rivers of China, that is your river Huanghe and Yangtze river, they played a prominent role in the flourish and development of the ancient Chinese civilization. Yes, this river Huanghe, also known as Yellow River. Yellow River, and second one is your Yangtze Kiang. These are the two major rivers of China, and this river, especially this river Huanghe, it is known as also known as the sorrow of China. Although there is no doubt that this river played a prominent role in the development of the civilization, in the flourish of the civilization, but as you will move to higher class, you will go through the course of the river, you will come to know how the river oftenly changed its course. And same happened here also. River Huanghe, when it changed its course, it caused a great damage to crops, life and property in China. That's why sometimes it is also known as sorrow of China. This river is also known as sorrow of China because of the huge destruction or damage which is caused by this river. Okay. Although the destruction and damage is caused, but there is no doubt in this that this river, every year the silt which is brought by this river, that fertile silt helped to continue the civilization. Yes, not only helped in agriculture, because you all know that for agriculture you need a fertile soil, and that is very much provided by the river Huanghe in China. But the fertile silt not only helped to continue the agriculture, not only it was favorable for the agriculture, but it also helped to feed the large population, and which indirectly helped to continue the civilization for a long time. Okay. Now, the river, these two rivers are the major prominent rivers which were flowing, and near the bank of these two rivers, the ancient Chinese civilization developed. Apart from this, if you will see that the ancient Chinese civilization, during this time, the people had also built a good network of waterways. Yes, the Chinese had built a very good network of waterways. And why, how this is beneficial, how this was beneficial for the people? See, good network of waterways not only helped in agriculture, but it also helped to it also helped to connect the distant places of China, and thus the activities could be carried out without any disturbance or without any hindrances. So a good connection between the distant places is required for proper development. So that good network of waterways helped not only the agriculture, but also helped to continue the development process even for the people who are living in the remote areas or the distant places. Now let's come to the major, see this Chinese civilization, it started during this your Bronze civilization and continued till Iron Age. Now the major ruling dynasties of this civilization, in this part I will discuss about those ruling dynasties. So the first ruling dynasty of China was your Song dynasty, okay. It was the first ruling dynasty of China. First ruling dynasty. Now, its time period was from 1765 BCE to 1100 BCE. After that, Zhou dynasty came to power, and Zhou dynasty was divided between two parts. Okay, that is your Western Zhou dynasty and Eastern Zhou dynasty. Zhou dynasty. And the famous teacher, philosopher of China named Confucius. Yes, he is world renowned philosopher. He lived during the era of Zhou dynasty. Okay. So this Zhou dynasty was divided into two parts, Eastern Zhou dynasty and Western Zhou dynasty. After the fall of Zhou dynasty, Qing dynasty came to power. And the ruler of this dynasty was King Shang Huang. Okay. And after the fall of Qing dynasty, Han dynasty came to power. So these were the major ruling dynasties of China, especially which which ruled during the era of ancient Chinese civilization. Okay. Now let's come to the society. What was the social structure of the ancient Chinese civilization? Just first have a look, then I will explain you. Just first have a look on this, just find out the first class, second class, who are the people who belongs to the different classes. Now, students, as you are seeing, the whole society, see every civilization, and even today also we have our own society. There is a social structure, whether people living in Eastern countries or Western countries, whether living in America or Europe or even in backward countries of Africa, or even during the ancient time also. Society is an important part. It is a very vital part. And in every civilization you will see the existence of society. So like other civilizations also, the Chinese civilization have their own social structure. They have their own society, or you can say the social pattern. See, if you will see the ancient Chinese society, you will see that family had a great importance. It had great vitality, and even family was considered very sacred institution. Okay, during the time of ancient Chinese civilization. And people who were elders, they had a great respect in the society. They were respected, and even the ancestors were respected. Even today also you will see that we celebrate many festivals which are associated with the remembrance of our ancestors. So there are some festivals through which we pay our respect to our ancestors. Because of our ancestors, today we are existing. So in ancient Chinese society also you will see that family was very important. It was the elders were very much respected by the people, and the ancestors, they were also having a great respect during this ancient civilization. Now the society was like any other civilizations of the early time. This Chinese civilization was also divided into different classes. Okay, so the king was he was having the top position. He was the first class. King belongs to the first class. Okay, he stands at the top of the social order. After king, nobles and officers belongs to the second class. After that, merchants, artisans, farmers, they belongs to the third class. And finally at the bottom level or at the lowest level, slaves were existing. Okay, so you can get the idea. Society was divided into four classes. The first class, in the first class, king was occupying the position. Second class belongs to nobles and officers. Third class, in the third class, merchants, artisans and farmers were having their existence. And at the lowest level, or at the fourth class, in the fourth class, the slaves were existing. Okay, at the lowest level or at the bottom level, slaves were existing. Now let's come to the occupation and crafts. See, first thing I would like to mention you that already I have mentioned about the rivers Havango and Yangtze river. So these two rivers played a prominent role, no doubt. And this river Havango, it is also known as Yellow River. And why it is known as Yellow River? Because every year during the flood, it brings along with it the silt which is yellowish in color. And because of this color yellow, because of the yellow silt which is brought by the river Havango, it is known as Yellow River. So the rivers not only provide the water for the agriculture, but also provides rich fertile land for agriculture, which helps to support the agriculture, and as well as the good network of waterways. Already I have mentioned this also, that good network of waterways also help to make agriculture, help the agriculture to have good production of crops. Now, what are the major crops which are grown especially during the ancient time in China? They were your rice, millet, soya bean and tea. These were the major crops which were grown. See, tea, it was, you can say that Chinese were the first people to discover tea. Yes, tea as a beverage, as a drink, it came to the world and to every one of us because of Chinese. They dried the leaves, and even this tea is not only used as a drink to refresh yourself, but also even used for the medical purposes in China. And even in India, before the era of Britishers, you will see no concept of tea. Tea was not used as a drink. But when the Europeans came to India, when especially after the arrival of the Britishers in India, you will see they brought tea with them. And to benefit their business, they made this tea very popular among the Indian masses. And even today also, if you will move to someone's house, even a cup of tea and a glass of water, you can at least expect this from everyone. So this is a very common thing. It is now a part of our culture. Okay, so tea has been discovered by the Chinese people, and it is not used only as a drink, but also used for its medical purposes. Okay. Now let's come to the silks. See, silk, the Chinese were also the first one to discover the silk. And even the knowledge how to produce silk, it was kept as a secret by the Chinese people for a long time. So the Chinese used to produce the silk through a method called sericulture. Okay, sericulture. And what is your sericulture? What is the meaning of this sericulture? Sericulture is a process by which a silkworm is reared, okay, to produce silk. So the Chinese, they used to rear the they used to rear the worms on the mulberry tree, and not only this, they were also having a great knowledge in weaving the fine threads of the silk. So this silk, Chinese silk, it was very much famous since ancient time. Yes, the spices of India, the silk, the textile, these were some of the major products which the Eastern people, they used to export to the Western countries. You will see that the occupations or the Asians or African countries which were occupied by the imperialistic powers like your England or your France or different other European powers, they occupied these countries because of the profitable trade. Okay, because these items, they were very much costly in the European markets. The European traders or merchants who were trading in these items, they used to make huge profits from this. So the Chinese silk is it was also one of the major export item, and as it was not known how to produce silk for the rest of the world, it was a secret for a long time. So it was having a great demand in the European market, and the people, the traders or the merchants, they used to carry this silk from the route which is known as silk route. Yes, what is this silk route? What is this silk route? Actually, silk route is the trade route. Okay, it is the name given to the trade route which carried the trade from east to west. I have told you that the eastern, since ancient times, the trading activities were carried out by the people with the different corners of the world. Okay, in the case of Indus Valley civilization, also in Mesopotamia, in Egyptian civilization also, we have seen that the people were having trade relations with the other civilizations. So the Chinese silk was having a great demand, and it was carried out by the route, by the traders from east to west, and that trade route name is your silk route. Okay. Now, apart from silk, sericulture and production of silk, let's move to the next craft, that is your pottery. In the field of pottery also, the Chinese have given the excellent development. They have given excellent contribution, and the porcelain. Porcelain is actually a special type of clay. Okay, it is a special type of clay which is used to make pottery items. Okay, which is used in pottery. So porcelain, which is a special type of clay used by the Chinese people to make various objects from that clay, like your saucers, cups, glasses, vases. So these porcelain materials which was produced, they were having a great and fine quality, and because of its fine quality, it was famous all over the world. Okay, even the vases which were produced from this porcelain, it was having a very shining, glossy surface, and it was used for decoration purpose and other purposes as well as. So now, one thing I would like to mention you about this porcelain and the Chinese pottery. Chinaware. Chinaware is actually, it is a kind of those dishes, Chinese dishes or vases which are produced from this porcelain. Okay, so the Chinese vases, cups or saucers or other dishes which are produced from this porcelain, these items are known as Chinaware. This porcelain is not only a special type of clay which had given a great contribution in the field of pottery, but also it had helped the Chinese items to be the major export items also in the field of pottery. Now let's come to the other crafts. So students, as I have mentioned you about the major occupation, other crafts. Now apart from that, again I am just recapitulating the whole thing. Okay, so the agriculture, it was a major occupation of the ancient Chinese people, and apart from agriculture, people were also indulged in weaving, apart from that pottery and your woodwork and lacquer work. These were also one of the major occupations of the people during the ancient during the time of ancient era in the Chinese society. Okay, now what is this woodwork and lacquer work? Woodwork, I think so most of you know. Woodwork is simply designing of the designing done on the wood. Okay, whether that is a wooden table or door or another things. Apart from this lacquer work it is actually a kind of designing which is done with the help of wood items, silver or gold. Even the use of materials like silver and gold is used for decorating. Okay, So lacquer work is a kind of, you can say, artistic work in which various materials like wood, gold, silvers are used to decorate, to make the fine linings. Okay. So the ancient people were indulged in agriculture, pottery, weaving and other art and crafts like lacquer work, woodwork. So now I don't think so there is any problem in this topic, occupation and crafts. Now let's move to the next one. Now one thing I just missed out, that is about the trade. Trade was also one of the major occupations. See, as this civilization, it was situated near the bank of the river, so trade was, it was natural for them to have trade as an important economic activity. So people were having trade relations with the other ancient civilizations like your Egyptian civilization, Indus civilization, Mesopotamian civilization. Even they were also trading with the people of Arabia. Now they used to specially export the major Chinese items which were exported to these countries were your Chinese silk, tea, paper, Chinaware materials and others. See students, these are the major occupations of the people who were living in China during the ancient time. Now apart from this, I would like to mention here about paper. Yes, the credit for the invention of paper goes to China again. Yes, they have not only discovered the tea, the silk, but they also invented paper. They used to first write on the bamboo plates and your silk cloth, and finally they discovered the paper. They started making paper from the bark of the trees, from hemps, rats and old fishing nets. And paper is the invention of paper is a vital achievement. It is a vital contribution of Chinese to the world, because as you know that during when you have paper, it's very important, it's very easy to preserve the materials, it is very easy to preserve the knowledge, and thus that knowledge can be easily transmitted from one generation to other. So the Chinese have also given a great contribution in the field of writing by inventing paper. Now let's come to the religion. What was the religious beliefs of the people living in ancient China? So just first have a look, then I will explain you. So student, see, they used to worship the forces of nature. Like the people in Indus Valley civilization, in Egyptian civilization, in Mesopotamian civilization, they were also having the belief system that the forces of nature should be worshipped, and they were worshipping. There are evidences which quietly proves that the ancient Chinese people, they used to worship the forces of nature, whether that is your sun god, your water or your fire. These forces of nature were worshipped by the people living in ancient China. Now, apart from this, they also worshipped their ancestors. Yes, as I have told you, in China, in even society also, we have seen in Chinese society, the people had a great respect for their ancestors. So ancestors were not only respected, but they were also worshipped by the people. Okay, and even in our Indian culture also, you will see that there are some of the festivals or occasions which are also associated with the worship of the ancestors. Yes. So worship of ancestor, because see, whatever we are today because of our ancestors. So when we worship our ancestor, it is a kind of remembrance, it is a kind of respect that we show through the worship. So in ancient Chinese society also, the people used to worship their ancestors. Okay. Now God Shang-Ti was the supreme god. Who was the supreme god in the ancient Chinese civilization? God Shang-Ti. He was the supreme god of ancient Chinese civilization. And the king was having a great position. He was not only at the top of the society, but also he was regarded as the son of the god Shang-Ti. Shang-Ti, who was the supreme god of China, his son was the king. The emperor who used to rule in China, or the king of China, they were regarded as the son of God. So definitely, if anyone who is regarded as the son of God, definitely that person will have a great respect in the society. There is no doubt in this. That's why during the ancient time, kings were very much respected and their word was final and it was obeyed by everyone living in the society. Now, people used to respect the oracles or priests. Oracles, actually in simple terms you can say it is astrologer. Okay, so oracles were the priest also. Sometimes the oracle may not be a priest, so oracles were actually the priests. Okay, see, please don't get confused that the people who tell the future, they are always the priest. No, they may be a professional astrologer. But in ancient Chinese civilization, the oracles were the priests. The priests are the people who used to worship, who used to go for the profession of worship. Okay, so the priest is also doing the job of astrologer. He is also known as oracle in the ancient Chinese civilization. And these oracle or priests were having a great respect in the society. Why? See, because these people were not only worshipping the god, but they can also predict the future. They can tell the future. Whenever the king or queen, they used to have some answer. They want to know about the future. They want to know about a particular question. They used to go to this priest or oracle, and they used to whatever the questions they used to put before the oracle. The oracle used the oracle bones. Oracle bones. See, oracle bones are simply the bones of animals or turtle shells on which the question mentioned by the king or queen was inscribed, and when it was heated in the fire, a pattern used to form over the shell or the bone. So that the pattern which is formed over the surface of the shell or the bone, that is interrupted by the oracle, or that is interrupted by the astrologer to give the answer to the king or the queen. So oracles were very much respected in the society, and whenever the people they want to know the future, they used to go to these oracles. Now, Buddhism, Confucianism and Taoism became very popular later on. Yes, in China, after the you will see after quite a long time, you will see there was a existence and arrival of Buddhism, which moved from India to China. Taoism is actually a religion. It is a religion which is propounded and found on the philosophy of a thinker known as Tao. Okay, same here with Confucianism. Okay, as I have mentioned you that a great philosopher and teacher of China, Confucius, he used to live during the era of Zhou dynasty, and this man, he was a great thinker and philosopher, and whatever he had told, the philosophy he has given, that has been accepted by the people and followed as it is one of the major religion now in China. Okay, now I don't think so there is any problem in the religion part. Just once have a look, then I will move to the next part, that is about the Chinese script. Now students, let's come to the Chinese script. First just have a look on these points, then I will explain you. students, the Chinese script was also a pictorial script. It was like a pictorial. What is the meaning of pictorial script? Means picture writing. Okay, the word picture, from the word picture, pictorial has been derived. So the Chinese script was a pictorial script. Means each word represent a picture. See, each word was represented through a picture. Now, the people, they used to basically write, for writing purpose they use bamboo or silk. Okay, and for writing they use the brush which was made by the camel hair. Yes, for writing they used to write with the pen or the brush that was made from camel hair. See, if you will see the Chinese script, it was very difficult, a complicated script. So, because of its complication, the script was limited only to the few sections of the society. So, you can say that majority of the people were devoid of education, because when the script was complicated, it was not known to majority of the section. So, definitely the education was limited only to the few section of the society, especially only to the privileged class, the elite class. Means the people, the upper classes of the society, like the nobles, the king, they only have the education. So this shows that because of the complication of the script, the education was not available to the majority section of the ancient Chinese civilization. Now, apart from this, see, I don't think so there is any problem in the Chinese script. Apart from this, now I will discuss architecture, which is one of the major section in this chapter. Okay, so please just have a look, then I will move to architecture. Now let's come to the architecture. See, in the field of architecture also, the Chinese had done a great work. So whether it was a Great Wall of China or the Terracotta Army, these are the finest examples of the Chinese architecture. See, especially if you will see during the ancient time in China, the walls were very prominent. Okay, it was a very prominent part of the ancient Chinese architecture. Walls, where you will see that the rulers or even the people of China, they used to go for the building of walls. Walls were very common, whether the walls were built around the temples, around the palaces, and even around the villages also, walls were made. It was the major purpose to go for the construction of these walls was to protect from the invasion of enemies, to protect the people from invasion of enemies. So the walls were very important part of the ancient Chinese architecture, and during this era only you will see there was emergence of Great Wall of China. Yes, it was constructed by the ruler, yes, Emperor Shi Huangdi. He made this Great Wall of China during 3rd century BCE. And why he made this Great Wall of China? He wants to protect the northern border of the China from the barbaric invasions of the nomadic tribes. Yes, during the early ancient time, the invasions, the barbaric attacks, it was very common. Okay, so in order to protect its northern border, the king had gone for the construction of the Great Wall of China. This Great Wall of China is one of the 7 wonders of the world, and even it is visible from the moon. It is the only human-made structure which is visible from the moon. It is 2900 km long, 8 meters high and 7 meter wide. Okay. Now let's come to the second point, that is pagodas. What are pagodas? Pagodas are actually the stupas, okay, which is made, especially used in the temple construction. These stupas were actually used in the construction of the temples, and these pagodas are very common feature. Even today also, if you will go to China, you will see they have the buildings made on this pagoda style. So pagoda was a very unique and common feature during the ancient times especially, and pagoda, it is actually a stupa type construction, especially done in the temples, and these were decorated with the sculptures. Okay, the sculptures were used to decorate the walls of the pagodas or the temples. Now let's move to the third point, that is your terracotta army. Yes, the first emperor of China, King Shi Huang. King Shi Huang was the first emperor of China, and he had gone for the this terracotta army. Terracotta army is actually the army which is made up of terracotta material, and it consists of warriors, soldiers, chariots, and these were buried with the tomb of the king. And why king had gone for the building of this terracotta army? So that he can be protected, he can be safeguarded from the enemies after life. So this shows that the Chinese have this faith, they have the belief that life is still continues after the death. That's why the king have gone for the building of this terracotta army. And this terracotta army, it was discovered in 1974 by a farmer while digging the land. Okay. Now let's come to the what were the contributions of Chinese in the field of science and technology. So just have a look here. See, they were the Chinese people. They developed their solar and lunar calendars. They developed both the calendars, the solar calendar as well as the lunar calendar. They have divided the whole year into 365 days and 12 months. Even the ancient Chinese people, you can just assume their knowledge in the field of science, that they even can predict easily the time of eclipses, whether that is the time of solar eclipse or the lunar eclipse. Apart from this, you will see that they invented seismograph. What is seismograph? Seismograph is actually an instrument which is used to record the earthquakes. Okay. So the Chinese were the first to introduce the instrument called seismograph, which is used in the recording of earthquakes. Third one is the Chinese have also invented the mariner's compass, paper, your block printing and gunpowder. Yes. What is block printing? I think so gunpowder, paper and your mariner compass. Compass is used for the direction, for finding the direction purpose. So it is especially used by the sailors. All of you know this. Gunpowder, no problem. Paper, you all know. But what is block printing? Block printing is actually a technique of printing the texts, patterns or images on the wooden material or any kind of other opaque objects. Okay, so the Chinese were the first to develop the art of block printing. So in the field of science and technology also they have contributed a lot. There is no doubt in this. Whether that is the invention of paper currency, they were also the first to introduce the paper currency to the world. So even today also we are in the modern era, we are using many items which had been invented by or discovered by the Chinese people, whether that is a tea, whether that is a paper, whether that is a gunpowder or even your paper currency. Okay, so these all items were discovered by your Chinese people. So in the field of science and technology also they had contributed a lot. So again I am leaving you with these points. Please have a look. Then I will finally move to the decline of the civilization. Now let's come to the decline of this civilization. See, the Han Dynasty, which ruled almost for 400 years, it began to decline, and after its decline you will see there was an era of chaos and disorder in the ancient China, and because of this, this was also the period where you will see that there was a change in the system of governance also. So earlier the there was a monarchy, means there was a rule of the king, but now the people were moving to the different form of government. Second thing is your foreign invasion. Yes, the barbaric invasions of the foreigners, that can be also one of the reason behind the decline of this civilization. So foreign attack can be also one of the major reason behind the decline of the civilization. Apart from this, you can say also there might be a attack due to the refusal of trade. Yes, trade was a major activity, and the Chinese items were the major items which had a great demand in the international market. So ultimately, it can be attacked by the foreign powers, so that for the purpose of the trade also. So ultimately, these are the reasons behind the decline of the Chinese civilization, ancient Chinese civilization. So now the chapter is over. I have explained you everything. If there is any problem, please mention me in the comment. Please subscribe the channel so that you can get the timely information. And this time, apart from question answers, I am also giving the other exercises like your fill up the blanks, true or false. I am giving all those, because what I am saying that I am giving the homework, but you are not going for the homework. You have not done the homework. I have checked the copies. So please, now I am giving you the answers. Please go and do the homework, because your exam is approaching now. So please pay proper attention, be conscious, and if there is any problem, please mention me. Okay, thank you.